Listen to this drum loop I downloaded from splice.com. Now listen to the drum loop again. I repitched the individual drum hits separately to match this song. I love downloading drum loops from places like splice.com or Loopmasters. It's a quick way to get a beat going, get inspiration to go with some chord ideas. But sometimes I want to use the same groove, but modify the individual drum hits and retune them. Well, in this video, I'll show you how, and a couple cool tricks for using inspiration from samples in Ableton. First of all, you should tune your drums to your song. I always do this and it makes such a big difference. I'll show you how to do it later in the video. But first, let's see how we can easily extract the groove, the rhythm of the drum sample, to use other drum sounds. By the way, if you're learning Ableton, I have a great tutorial for beginners. You can watch that right here. First of all, I found this great sample. I love the groove of it, but I want to be able to use other samples instead with the same drum arrangement and rearrange it a bit to my taste and retune it as well. Here's the original sample. Pretty good, but then when I add my own instruments to it, it's not quite tuned right and I want to rearrange it a little bit. Check it out with my other instruments. Not quite where I want it to be. I want it to end up like this. That sounds more crisp and nice to me, but I love the groove of the original drums. So let's see what we can do. First, I dragged the sample from splice.com into Ableton right here. I want to show you a little trick first. Right-click this drum loop and choose Convert Drums to New MIDI Track. Check it out. We're going to have the same groove using a stock Ableton drum kit. Here it is. So remember the original beat. And now it's converted it into MIDI and using an Ableton drum kit. Pretty cool, right? So already you can take any sample and then extract the groove from it, extract the individual instruments. Ableton does a really good job at this. So there you go, that's trick number one. If you like tricks like these, I have a whole video showing you some awesome tricks in Ableton that will extract full chords and melodies from samples and lots of other useful things you can do in Ableton. You can watch that video here. Now, what you can do with this is you can choose a different drum kit. Same groove, but different kit. Now, what if I like the drum sounds in the original sample loop? I want to reuse those, but kind of make it my own. I'll show you how to do that. All right, back to the original sample. First thing we're going to do is we're going to create a MIDI track and we're going to insert Simpler on that MIDI track. And now we're going to drag the drum sample from Splice into Simpler. In Simpler, you can actually play this on your keyboard. I'm hitting a low C. Simpler is great. I love it. But what we're going to do is crop the sample to 1 bar. So I think that's about 1 bar. Turn on loop down here and it'll keep looping while you hold down your key. That's pretty good. You don't have to get it exact here. Next, what we're going to do is click on Slice down here in Simpler, and we're going to turn down the sensitivity. If we slice it exactly the way it is, it's picking up all sorts of transients in the middle, and we don't need all of those. So I'm going to slice it down just so I'm getting the main drum hits. That's about right because I want those hi-hats in there as well. Maybe a little bit higher. There we go, we're getting all the hi-hats now too. Next, right-click the slices in here, and you're gonna click Slice to New MIDI Track. Don't pick Slice to Drum Rack, you want to choose Slice to New MIDI Track. I'll show you what this is gonna do. All right, now it's created a new track here, and let's listen to what this new track is playing. Now look what it's done. It's taken all the slices from Simpler and arranged them into a drum rack. And you can see all the samples that it's chopped up. There's the kick. That's one of the hi-hats. And you can clean these up a bit because there's a little sound at the end. I'm going to clean this up. Next we have another kick. And there's the snare. And guess what? We have a full drum rack from that original sample. Hey, if you're liking this video, hit the like button, don't forget to subscribe, and watch my Beat Break series. Lots of cool tips in those videos. Best of all, we also have the groove in MIDI form. It's playing the original slices. You can hear that there are multiple kick drums. There's one here, another one there. We can actually move all these kick drums down. Let's find the other ones. There's another one. There we go. Now we've got all the kick drums playing from slice 1. And you might want to adjust the groove a little bit here. I need this kick drum a little to the left. Excellent. So now we've got a new groove playing, a new drum beat playing from the original samples. Let's also move the snares. Let's move these together. And the rest are, this is the hi-hat, move that down. That's a hi-hat. All right, so now we have all the hi-hats together, kicks together, and the snares. Now we can tune them individually. Check it out, here's the kick drum. I can tune it by transposing it. The best way to do this is by trusting your ear. I find it easier to listen to the melody or chords alone and then soloing the drums to tune them individually. Listen to the melody and the chords. So you can transpose right here. I can transpose this to, I tried this before and 3 worked better. It's more in tune with the song. Now this takes some experimentation, so you can try using the transposition here. You can also go to controls here and use detune, which adjusts it by smaller increments. And I'm going to adjust the hi-hats a bit too. I want the hi-hats to be snappier, so I'm going to transpose them up 11 semitones. That's cool. Then I have the snare over here. I'm going to transpose this up as well, 5 semitones. And now listen. And with the instruments, much better. The tuned drums sound so much better. And don't forget, we used the original samples from that sample loop that we download from splice.com. Now compare that to the original drum beat. Now that drum beat was not tuned as well as this new one. This is such a simple thing to do to make the drum loops unique to you. Also, once you have the individual drum samples in a drum kit, you can start adding effects to the individual drum slices. So you'll see for the kick drum, I added drum bus. For the snare, I added a little bit of a reverb sound. Without it, that's the original sample with a little reverb. And on the entire kit, I put in Transient Master by Native Instruments and a little bit of glue compressor. Keep an eye on my channel for more tips and gear reviews, and if you need some help coming up with chord progressions, you can download my MIDI chord and sample pack, link in the description. Keep making the music you love, and hey, watch one of these videos next.